in Whiteside County with Dave Harrison. Here's Greg Naftzger.
All righty. Thank you, Gary. And good morning, Dave. Good to have you back in.
Thank you.
Dave, again, from the Whiteside County Soil and Water Conservation District, and comes in second Tuesday of every month to let us know kind of what's going on in Whiteside County and other places around the area here. So
Right.
what are you going to start with here today, Dave?
Well, you wouldn't know it by this past weekend, but the seasons are changing finally. Fall has arrived. I think both traditionally and weather-wise, I think you're going to see a fairly good temperature drop in the next day or two. Get this next front coming through, I think tomorrow morning, and the temperature's supposed to drop at least another 10 degrees, and then the following week, highs of 60, 59 to 60. So temperature-wise, we're into fall. The leaves are starting to change. They haven't been blown off yet by the storms. And the thing I noticed was the length of day. It went from getting dark at 7:30, quarter to 8 o'clock to now we're looking at 6:30, 6 o'clock, and it doesn't get light in the morning real early anymore either. I know
it always gets the darkest before the dawn.
That's right. That's a good way to look at it, Greg. But yeah, fall is here. The other thing I've noticed is the woolly bear caterpillars are starting to become really active, and that's always been a sign, to me at least, that fall's here. But yeah, the trees, the peak of the color is supposed to hit around here, I think, next week. So if you're interested in taking a trip north, this week would probably be good if you're looking for apples up in southern Wisconsin or want to go up into northern Iowa. The tree color should be just about right.
Yeah, there was I don't know where I saw this, but they were talking about the change of the color and the leaves, and up north up in Wisconsin area, southern Minnesota, they're
right.
A little subdued in the color. It's they're right now not just as bright and with orange and yellows and reds like they normally.
To hit the absolute peak, I think you have to go somewhere up around Clam Lake, Wisconsin. And if you're familiar with that, that's a ways up there. But it's starting. Our problem around here is it's been so dry that a lot of the trees, the leaves are starting to come down kind of prematurely. But I have noticed around the office there in Morrison, maples are starting to turn, the native maples. And the oaks in my backyard are starting to turn too. The problem is they're starting to drop leaves at the same time. So the color around here, I think, is going to be short-lived, simply because it was so hot and dry, and the trees are kind of under stress right now. But this is the time. If you want a road trip, just a few hours north of here, I think you can start to see some colors. But do it quickly. Like I said, I don't think things are going to last too long this year. So.
Well, yeah, you mentioned hot and dry.
Yep.
We finally had rain the other day. How does the area look? I know that a lot of the corn's been picked. Soybeans.
Yeah, I guess from a farming standpoint, that's a positive. There was a couple of weeks of good harvest weather. This is going to slow things down a little bit, but a lot of times guys will take the opportunity to haul corn to elevators now that maybe they had stored. So in a way, it's bad because you're stopping the combines, but it's good that you're starting to get the grain maybe out of storage and back to the river for shipping and that too. Overall, if I was a farmer, I'd be jumping up for joy, jumping up and down for joy, because we needed that soil moisture. And we're supposed to get another 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch tomorrow, which once again, it's not that muddy out. I'm seeing a few puddles in the fields, but I think it's just areas that are compacted by machine traffic. We needed some subsoil moisture. I was digging fence posts a few weeks ago, and it was like concrete. I had to use a pick to get the fence post in, and that's really unusual this time of year. You want that soil moisture going into next spring. You don't want to have a deficit in moisture. So this rain is, it's one of the best things that could happen this time of year, to be honest with you.
Well, it was much needed, much appreciated.
You bet.
One of the topics here is watch the roads, and then Mad Moon in parentheses.
Yeah.
What's a Mad Moon?
Well, if you've lived in Illinois or Iowa or anywhere in the Midwest for the last 40, 50 years, as you and I have, you'll know what occurs with the white-tailed deer this time of year. One, you got crops being harvested at an accelerated rate, so there's a lot of that escape cover or habitat that's being lost. And the breeding season's going to start very soon. The bucks have already started to rub and scrape, so they're getting somewhat active. And it probably will be around Halloween you're going to see the peak of activity as far as what I call the mad moon. You'll get a full moon about that time, and combine that with a really shortened length of day, and the does will start coming into estrus for heat. And at that point, things will get really wacky because they have no fear of the roads at that point. They'll run. The does will do whatever they can to get away from the bucks. And usually if you have one runner in front of you, you can almost be guaranteed at the end of October you're going to have something else following very shortly. And you might miss the first one, but just watch out for that second one. That's the one people usually hit. And don't forget also that the fawns are still with the does. So the doe may go across the road, and then there might be 2 or 3 fawns that follow her. So even those fawns can do a lot of damage to a vehicle. What I would advise people is use your brights as much as you can at night without blinding anybody else. Slow down. That's the big thing. Slow down, pay attention to the ditches. More than likely, the deer is going to stop at that grass strip or the ditch and just take a quick peek, more than likely. Not always, but more than likely, and that'll be your opportunity to at least slow down or swerve. The other thing I would recommend to folks is if you're going to hit a deer, don't swerve into the other lane. It can go from a bad accident to something really, really serious very quickly if you head on somebody, and that happens all the time. Do what you can to strike the deer at an angle and not head on. One of the worst things that can happen is you hit the deer, it pops up and hits you in the windshield. Hopefully it would go over the car. A lot of times it doesn't, though. It pushes the windshield in on you, and that's normally fatal. A 200-pound deer coming through your windshield, there's not a whole lot you can do at that point. But slow down. What I was doing, I had to drive back and forth several years ago to Iowa City on Route 80. And what I would do, and this was like October, November, right in the prime rutting season. And what I would do is I'd just find a semi to get behind and stay behind that, hoping that if a deer ran out, the semi was going to get it, not me. But, and that corridor between the Quad Cities and Iowa City, you wouldn't think it'd be that bad, but there's a lot of timber out there. And that, it's nasty. Come October, November, the road is just littered with dead deer, and hopefully a lot of those are getting hit by semis, because if they're getting hit by cars, there's a lot of damage being done. So slow down. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I've had a few meetings with the
I have too.
Suicidal deer.
Yeah. The worst thing you can have is, and I've had this happen a couple times, is where you got a road embankment that's higher than the road, and they come off those embankments, because then they can get you right in the windshield, and there's no, I don't care how fast you're going, that's a deer in your lap. So be careful. This is the time where things are going to get real interesting. So take your time, slow down.
Okay. Now, cover crops, we'll kind of run by a few things with that here.
Yeah, just real quickly, we still have our cost share program going on. It's not too late to put rye out, and we are getting free seed. This is going to be, I've got like 500 bushels of rye showing up in 50-pound bags here at sometime maybe in the next week. So if you're interested, I want to limit it to Illinois farmers, so sorry folks in Iowa, but we can probably get you up to 20, maybe 30 acres of seed at a bushel per acre. So I got some people on the list already, but if you're interested, give us a call, 815-772-2124, extension 3. And as soon as we get the seed in, we'll call you. And we would hope you can arrive the day it arrives, so I don't have to move the stuff twice. Because we're just getting our prairie seed that we harvested out of the shed, and that's going to be pretty good timing, because then we'll have room open to get these bags of seed in there for the cover crop too. But give us a call if you're interested, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
Okay. Duck season in northern Illinois. When's that?
Yeah, when I was deer hunting with my grandson, it was Illinois youth shotgun season this past weekend. I could hear some shooting over on the river, which I'm assuming was the Iowa's early opener. Iowa's always got a split season, and Illinois starts the 23rd of October, which is a week later than normal. And that's because of input from hunters that were saying that they thought the ducks were moving a little bit later in the season. So we'll see how this works out. But this is a late start this year for Illinois in the northern zone. Southern zone starts even later. the central zone just a little bit later. So, but be aware of that.
Okay. Illinois deer first gun season. Is it
Yeah.
November.
Yes, November 19th is the first Illinois gun season, the firearm season. You can use pistol, muzzleloader, or shotgun. Unlike Iowa, Illinois has not allowed rifle use yet. It may be coming, but that's been said for the last 10 years, and I still don't see it. That's when most of the deer get harvested. I know Iowa doesn't start until that first week in December. That's our second season.
Mm.
So, and I'm not so sure I agree with that timing-wise, but that's how it is. November 19th through the 21st is the first 3-day gun season in Illinois.
Okay. CRP.
Yes, at least in Whiteside, we're trying to get folders out for the last 2 signups, and there's going to be more CRP coming down the road here very shortly. The continuous sign-up is still open for waterways, filter strips, wetlands, and then we anticipate another general sign-up for hilly ground sometime probably this spring. And I'm hoping to have those folders out, so get this one done and the new one starts. But if you have any questions about CRP, you can call our office and we'd be glad to help you with it. And CRP is a federal program, and it's not just unique to the Midwest. It's a nationwide federal USDA program. And most field offices can help you with general questions at least. So,
Okay. Well, got about 2 minutes.
you bet.
The last topic: ground nesting predators.
Predators, yes. This is a topic that's kind of near and dear to my heart. I trap. I think I've mentioned that a few times on the show. A lot of people that have CRP, and it does kind of relate to CRP, one of the things that they forget about is when you have CRP or cover, you have the good animals, but you also have predators that move in. And depending what those animals that you're trying to attract are, like ground nesting birds, songbirds, those predators can be really damaging, especially if the CRP is the only habitat in the neighborhood. The predators will hone in on and basically wipe out every nest that's in there. And it could be in a tree, planting, grasslands especially, or wetlands. I would suggest that if you do have CRP and you have somebody in the neighborhood you really trust, have them trap at least the coons, possums, and some of the skunks. And you don't have to take every one of them. Just reduce the population, and you'll be doing a lot to increase, like bluebird, bobolink. All those birds that nest on the ground or in cavities are in danger, especially from raccoons. We've gone from 2 million pelts a year being harvested in raccoon pelts to around 200,000. So that's a lot more raccoons out there that are eating these nests and really affecting the songbird populations. So if you know a good, reliable trapper, you might want to have them move in for a week or two just to reduce those raccoon populations.
Okay.
So,
Well, that'll wrap us up here for this month. So we'll see you again. A lot of good info that
You
we
bet.
let folks know about, and we'll see you November.
okay, thank you.
You betcha.
Coming up on the next John Tesh Radio Show, we've got all your favorite music plus intelligence for your life, information to make you smile.